Okay, guys. Now, we'll quickly look into the important points. Okay. Last class we started with the architecture of 886 processor. Okay. Um, so we discussed the various components of architecture of 886 processor. Before we continue, let us look into the important features. Okay. So then, yes, I'm using these three, the presentations. One is PDF form, this one, and the other two are these two presentations. These are available in Blogspot. I think I sent you through WhatsApp also. You can refer that. Okay. So it's going to be useful on these all the three presentations. Okay, yes, 886 processor uh, designed by Intel, developed by Intel in 1978. Okay, so later on we have different versions of 886 that we had seen in the earlier class. Okay, it is available in this you know in this notes. Okay, so various versions of 886 processor, and then comes 886 is a 16-bit processor. So 16-bit processor means, as we discussed, more memory space. Okay, so 16 address, sorry, data lines. 886 makes use of 20-bit address. Okay, so because of 20-bit, we get a 1 megabyte memory locations. Okay, so largest memory space. Is, for example, 805 is 8-bit controller, but address size is 16-bit. So total size is 64 kilobyte. 8051. Okay. Similarly, this this 886 data lines is 16-bit. That is a 16-bit processor, but address line is 20-bit, and hence the total capacity is the 1 megabyte. Okay. Total memory capacity is 1 megabyte. So it has multiplexed address and data bus. That is 16-bit address out of 20-bit address lines. 16-bit address lines are multiplexed. Just like in 8051, we have a lower byte is multiplexed. That is port 0 and port 2 carries lower byte of address as well as 8-bit of data, and port 2 carries only the upper byte of 8-bit of address in 8051. Okay. Similarly, in 886, out of 20 lines, lower 16 lines are carried by one ports. This is 80 to 8015. Another four lines are separate, A16 to N19. Okay, how it is carried we'll see later. Okay, so these 16 lines are multiplexed. That is 16 bit of address is multiplexed with 16 bit of data lines. Okay, so it can support up to 64 IO ports. Okay, 64 64,000 IO ports. Okay, it provides 14 16-bit registers. Okay, internal registers are totally 14. Each one of them is 16-bit in size. Okay, so it requires one phase clock with 33% duty cycle to provide optimized internal timing. So range of clock varies from processor to processor. That is, there are different versions of processor. 5 basic version operates with 5 megahertz. This 8051 operates with 11.059 megahertz. The range of 8051 controller, the clock rate is anywhere from 10 megahertz to 30 megahertz. Okay, so it varies from version to version. Similarly, 886 works with the various clock frequency depending on the version. Basic version comes with 5 megahertz clock pulse. The question here is, it looks like 5 megahertz is very small and hence 886 is slower. Yes, compared to 805 and 886 slower, but it can perform pipeline operations. What is pipeline operation? We'll see later. Okay, so because of the pipeline, the operation of 886 is can be improved. Okay, so we'll discuss that. Okay, fine. So 886 implies parallel processing. That's what I was talking about. Pipelining, pipelining. Okay, so that is, it can do two operations at a time. Okay, so it has two parts which operate at the same time. That is a bus interface unit and execution unit. This we had seen in this diagram. So it has two parts. One is bus interface unit. Okay, this part corresponds to bus interface unit. It has registers. Okay, segmentation registers added to generate physical address, 6-byte instruction queue to fetch the instruction and data in advance from the memory, which is connected external to the processor, so that the operation of the processor is faster. Okay. Execution unit, it consists of internal registers. Okay. It has ALU and flags. Okay. And this the components are connected using what is known as address and data bus. Okay, fine. So that's the meaning of this point. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. So it has a bus interface unit and what is known as execution unit. What is this bus interface unit is used for? Okay. Bus interface unit is basically is used to fetch the address and data from the memory. That's the responsibility of a bus interface unit. Okay. It is used to fetch. It is used to fetch address and data. Sorry, not address and data. Sorry, instruction and data. I'm sorry, instruction and data from external memory. After fetching this instruction and data from external memory, provide it to the CPU. CPU, that is arithmetic ALU, through control logic. Okay. So whatever the instruction to be executed by the processor will be fetched by the bus interface unit from the external memory and provided to arithmetic logic unit through different means, like for example through the instruction queue, and that may be stored in the internal registers, okay, which is going to be executed by the processor or ALU, and the result may be stored back to the internal registers, or may be sent back to the external memory through the bus interface unit. Okay. So bus interface unit basically is responsible for fetching the instruction and data from the memory. Okay, next is execution unit. Execution unit does the job of decoding the instruction fetched from the bus interface unit and execute the instruction which is decoded after fetching from the execution unit. Okay? Yes, this operation of fetching, decode and execution operates parallelly. That is, when one instruction is being fetched from the external memory, the previously fetched instruction will be executed by the execution unit. Okay, because of this operation, because of this parallel processing, okay, or pipelining operation, which is also called as pipelining. Okay, though the 886 operates with a lower, 886 operates with a lower speed, okay, lower frequency of 5 megahertz, for example. So the speed of operation is quite faster because of what is known as parallel processing, which we don't find in 8051. 8051 doesn't do any parallel processing. It will fetch the instruction, execute the instruction, gives the result, then only it will fetch another instruction in 8051. Okay, not in the case of 8086. Okay, yes, this slide will summarize the the bus interface unit operation. Sends out the address for memory location, that is to fetch the instruction and data. So fetches instructions from the memory, that is external memory. Read or writes the data to the memory. So it will read the data from memory or write the data to the memory. Okay. Yes, when it comes to instruction, it is only fetching operation. It will only read. When it comes to data, it will not only read, it will also write the data back to the memory. Okay. So data, when it comes to data, two-way operation, both the read and write operation. But when it comes to instruction, it is always fetching. Okay. So to fetch the data or instruction, it has to send out the address through the address bus. For IO devices connected to the IO ports, it is send the address first to the external devices, so that it can place the data on the data bus. It will read or write data from or to the IO devices through IO ports. Okay. Yes, that is, see what is this IO ports in the sense, devices are connected to these IO ports. The device has a memory. When it sends the address, that address corresponds to the memory address of the IO devices connected to IO ports. Okay. IO device may not give the instruction, it will only give the data. Okay. So thereby, external devices connected to the IO ports, is treated as a memory by the 886 microcontroller, so that it can not only read the data from the external device connected to IO ports, it will also write the data to the external device which are connected to IO ports. Writing the data means it will write the data to the memory of IO devices connected to the IO ports. So that is the meaning of this. Okay. So this is the basic role of a bus interface unit. Okay. Yes. Next is execution unit. It will tell the bus interface unit what to do. There is where to fetch the instruction from or data from. Okay. So it can be from a particular location. Okay, or it can be an IO port. Okay. So that will be instruction given by the execution unit to the bus interface unit. Accordingly, bus interface unit takes the address from the execution unit, fetches the instructions or data from that particular location in the memory. Okay, so that memory can be the external memory or it can be external device. Okay, fine. So decodes, so execution unit will decode the instruction fetched from the memory. Decoding is only for the instruction, not for the data. It will decode the instructions from the external it will decode the instructions received from the external memory through the bus interface unit, and it will execute those instructions after decoding by making use of the data required. If data required, by using the data, it will execute the instruction decoded by the execution unit. Okay. So dividing, so what happens basically in 886 is it will divide the work between bus interface unit and execution unit, and these two operations, that is fetching of instruction by the bus interface unit, decoding and execution of instructions by the execution unit, operates happens parallelly. Okay, works parallelly, and hence parallel processing is possible, and hence it will speed up the processing of 8086 microprocessors. Okay. Yes. Now, of course, architecture, we had seen the block diagram. I think this will not be, uh, this is a little bigger diagram, similar to what we have seen earlier. Oh, sorry. This will start from the beginning. Okay, sorry. This page is not fitting actually. Okay. So let me show it like this because the page will not fit. There's a little bigger diagram, and okay. So this should be like this. Let me try to fit it to the page so that we can comfortably see. Is it because it is okay, sorry, if I do F5, is just a minute. This full screen also, this page is, um, sorry. So we have to look into the, okay, let us look into the architecture. I'll zoom it here only. That is better. Let me zoom it here only. This is better. Okay, okay, it's fine. Okay, so this diagram basically explains the different components. Okay, similar to what we have seen earlier. So it will show it in a different fashion. Okay, otherwise it remains the same. Okay, fine. Okay, so what is the content of execution unit? Execution unit basically consists of instruction decoder, control system, ALU, there is a CPU, there is arithmetic logic unit, general purpose processors, flag registers, as you can see somewhere here. This flag registers. Okay, and pointer and index registers. Okay, there's a components of a execution unit. Okay, fine. Yes, now we'll quickly look into the basic operation of these components of the execution unit. Instruction decoder. Instruction decoder translate instructions fetched from the memory into series of actions which there is execution unit carries out. Yes, this process is known as decoding. Okay, that is instruction fetched from the memory is decoded to convert that instruction into action by the execution unit. Okay, okay, so what is this decoding basically is all about? See, the instruction fetched is in terms of zeros and ones. Okay, for the CPU to understand what to do with the instruction or what is the instruction is trying to say, this instruction which is in the form of operational code, that is binary numbers, has to be converted into a form so that processor can understand, there is a execution unit can ALU can understand. Accordingly, ALU can execute the instruction by taking the data from the memory. It may require it may not require, it depends on the instruction. Okay, and after executing the instruction, it will generate the result, and the result will be stored in the memory. Okay, so it will fetch the data from them. See, when we say memory, it is a memory is different. Not all the memory are same. That means what I'm trying to say is, So memory can be external memory, or it can be internal, CPU registers. So EU will basically store it in the internal CPU registers, and later it will transfer it into external memory depending on the requirement. Okay, fine. Next is control system. That is this point. This hardware of the CPU control system. What is the role of a control system? Okay, so the control system generates timing and control signals to perform internal operations of the microprocessor. Yes, what happens is each component has to be synchronized. So, what is synchronized? What is the meaning of synchronization? So, let us say, for example, execution unit. Uh, you know, um, okay, sorry. Yeah, okay. So, execution unit has to execute a instruction. Okay, so it will place the address of the instruction on the address bus. What does this bus interface unit does is, yes, you can see this arrow. That means there is a communication between the execution unit and the bus interface unit. It will place the address on the address bus of the address bus of the bus interface unit. This bus interface unit in turn communicates with the memory, fetches the instruction, transfer it of course, to the instruction queue. From that, it will transfer into the to the execution unit. Okay, all these operations should be synchronized. Okay, with respect to the clock. Okay, if it is not synchronized with respect to the clock, that is, if both bus interface unit and execution unit operates in at their own speed, then the task will not be synchronized and it will not give a correct result. Okay, so to take care of, because see, both bus interface unit and execution units are happening parallelly, are working parallelly. So both the operations should be synchronized, which is done using the additional hardware called as control system. Okay, so there is a role of a control system. Next comes arithmetic logic unit, ALU. Okay, it has 16-bit ALU, which can add, subtract, okay, and can do the logical operation of and, or, and increment, decrement, complement, or shift binary numbers. This, other than this, we can do other operation by making use of this basic operation. Okay, otherwise ALU is say, for example, ALU cannot subtract, but using programming method, we can generate subtraction of two numbers using ALU. Okay. For example, say ALU cannot do the let's say for XOR operation, for example. Okay, XOR or NAND operation. But using and complement, we can perform the NAND operation. That's how it is. Okay. So ALU is capable of doing basic operation, using which we have to perform the other operations. Okay. Fine. Yes. Next is, this is the instruction decoder. Okay, so general purpose registers in CPU. Okay, so where is this general purpose registers? If you see the CPU architecture, this in the execution unit, you see some basic registers. Okay, okay, sorry, I'm sorry, this is, it's jumping because, okay, so they are called as AX, BX, CX, and DX, stack pointer, base pointer, source index, and destination index. Okay, so these are the registers used in the execution unit. Okay, so there are 8 general purpose registers. Okay, they are called as AX, BX, CX, and DX. So this AX means 16-bit register. Okay, CPU registers, which is divided into two 8-bit registers, AH and AL. Similarly, BX, BH and BL, CX, CH and CL, DX is divided into DH and DL. Okay, so can be individually used for storing 8-bit of data. That is, I can store only 8-bit of data, I can store 16-bit of data using single CPU register. Okay, AL register is also called as accumulator. Okay, out of this AX, AL is called as accumulator, not together. Okay, AL is called as accumulator. Two registers can also be combined to form 16-bit register. So we can make use of two registers to store the 16-bit of data. Okay, that's possible. The valid register pairs, or there is that's combination is AX, BX, CX, and DX. Okay, so this is detailed here. Okay, that's about okay. Now this 8086 also has flag register, which is similar to program status word of a 8051 processor or controller. Okay, so there we call it as program status word. Here we call it as flag register. The size of this flag register is 16-bit in size. It contains 9 flags. Active flag means it will be affected based on the operation performed by the CPU or ALU. There are two types of flags in 886. They are called as conditional flags. Okay, so there are six conditional flags. They are set or reset by the execution unit. There is the ALU on the basis of results of some arithmetic operations. For example, addition. Addition will result in a carry. Okay, so those are affected based on operation executed by the CPU or ALU of execution unit. There are three out of nine flags. Six are control flags. Three are control. Sorry. Six are conditional flags. Three are control flags. They're used to control certain operation of processors. Okay. So to control some operation, these three flags are used. What are they? We'll discuss in detail now. Okay. So these are the flag registers. Let's quickly we'll go through this. So 16-bit register. U see U means black in the U in written black color. Is they are not used. Okay, they're free space. They are not used. Okay. CF for carry flag. Okay. PF for parity flag. AF for auxiliary carry flag. ZF zero flag. SF for sign flag, that is, it will indicate the sign of result, sign of the result. Of course, we'll see all this in detail. Anyway, OF for overflow flag. Other than this, these are the six conditional flags which are affected whenever the CPU executes some instructions. There are some control flags, for example, trap flag. Okay, trap flag is used whenever some conditions are executed by the processor. Case, for example, let us say divide by zero. Let's say we have written a program to divide a number by zero. It generates infinity, so it results in a some undetermined conditions. So in that such case, it will set a trap flag to one. Interrupt flag, that is to enable interrupt in processor. Use this flag. Next, we have what is known as direction flag. Okay, so what is the application of this? We'll discuss in detail. Direction flag. Okay. So these are the 16, flags in 8086 processor. Okay, yes, this is in little detail about processor. Yes, meantime, let me check in the other, other presentation. So same thing, ALU 16-bit bus. Total address is 20-bit bus or 20-bit. So I'll discuss this address generation later. Okay, instruction queue. The architecture is given in a different fashion. That's all. Okay. Um, Okay, so IO ports. So the same thing is explained. I'm trying to see if there is any other point to be discussed. Okay, so that we can look into that immediately. Segment registers, we'll see that later. Okay, so in this slide they have explained segment register first. Okay, fine. We'll come back to this later. Okay, fine. Yes, now this slide will explain the flag registers in detail. The bits of a flag in detail. Okay. Let's, for example, let us I'll take for example, let us say DF flag, for example, data of direction flag, for example. Okay, this is used by the string manipulation instruction. If the flag bit is 0, the string is processed beginning from the lowest address to the highest address. That is auto increment mode. Otherwise, the string is processed from highest address towards the lowest address. That is auto decrement mode. This should be auto decrement, auto decrement mode. Okay. Now we'll see that is how the strings are treated by the processor. That is either in the lower address to higher address or from higher address to lower address. That will be decided by direction flag. Okay. Similarly, we have overflow flag. If the result is bigger than 7 bits in 8-bit arithmetic or bigger than 15 bits in 16-bit arithmetic, then this flag is set to 1. For signed arithmetic, we use this overflow flag. We'll discuss that similar to 8051. Okay, anyway, we'll discuss this in detail. Similarly, sign flag is set to 1 when the result of any computation is negative. Okay, so whenever the let us say we subtract smaller number, larger number from smaller number, so then it will generate this flag is set to 1, which indicates negative numbers. Okay. Similarly, parity flag, zero flag. All these are similar to 805. That's why I'm not going in detail. Trap flag. If this flag is set to 1, processor enters a single step execution mode by generating internal interrupts after the execution of each instruction. Okay. This trap flag helps in executing the instruction one by one. This is useful in cases where, let us say, for example, we have a condition which results in a some unstable condition. So then this trap flag is useful. Okay, we'll discuss. We'll take up this later. Interrupt flag. 8051 can recognize. Sorry, 80686 can recognize external mask interrupts. Clearing this flag disable all the interrupts. Okay, it's just like in IE register, interrupt enable register. We have EA bit. There is a enable all bit, which is used to enable all the interrupts. If the bit is set to 1, or if that bit is EA bit of IA register is 0, all the interrupts are disabled. Okay, similar to that, we have interrupt enable flag. Okay, which are used to enable the interrupts. Okay, this is register flags. Okay, so that is explained in little detail here. 16-bit registers. Okay, so for example, AX is AL and AH. 8-bit registers. Each 16-bit register are divided into two 8-bit registers. Okay. Similarly, we have pointer registers. Okay, so what are the pointer registers? Stack pointer and base pointer register. Okay. So what is the application of that? We'll discuss in detail. Index register. Index register is used to point is used to store the address of source and destination. Okay, there are two index registers in 886: source index and destination index registers. Okay, next we have instruction pointer. So to point to the data segment, we'll see later. We'll discuss in later. We'll discuss in later. Segment registers. There are 4 segments in memory called as core segment, data segment, stack segment, extra segment. Each segment is of size 64 kilobyte. Each one of them is of the size 64 kilobyte. Okay. To access those segments in the memory, 8086 uses special registers called as segment registers, and each register is of size 16-bit. Register is 16-bit, but each segment in the memory is 64 kilobyte. So flag is similar to program status word of 8051, which is 16-bit register. That is just now we discussed. Okay, different flags in a different flags of a flag register in 8086. Okay, yes. Now in this slide, each function is explained in detail. Okay, there is a segment, that is a general purpose registers. Okay, and pointers and index registers. AX 16-bit accumulator, of course. In this, it stores 16-bit result of arithmetic and logic operation. It has two registers, AH and AL. AL is 8-bit in size, stores 8-bit of results of arithmetic and logic operation. Yes, the idea is this. If it is only 8-bit of, let's say I want to do only 8-bit operation, I want to do 8-bit arithmetic or logic operation. Default is AL, that is it uses AL. 16-bit register, it will make use of both AH as well as AL. Then we call it as AX. Together we call it as accumulator. Okay, if you use only AL, so let's say for 8-bit data, we use only AL, then AL is called as accumulator. If you use 16-bit of data, then together AH and AL together is called as accumulator. That's all. That's the difference. That's the different basic difference between AX and AL. Next we have BX, base register. Okay, used to hold the base value in base addressing mode to access the memory data. That is, to access the data stored in the memory in base addressing mode, this register is used. What is base addressing mode? We'll discuss later when we take up the addressing modes. Next, we have another CPU register called as CX, called as count register, used to hold the count value in shift, rotate, and loop instruction. Okay, to generate the count, to execute the instruction for a certain number of times, or to keep track of shift number of times the data has to be shifted or rotated. So in such case, we use a CPU register called as count register, called as CX. So the size of this CX is also 16-bit. Okay. Next, we have data register, used to hold the data for multiplication and division operation. It's just like in 8051 when we multiply the data. Okay. So what happens in the multiplication operation is, let me quickly open the notepad. Of course, all these are known fact, but just for the sake of comparison, so in 8051, okay, for multiplication operation, okay, we use the instruction mul ab. Okay, A holds the lower byte of the result and B holds the upper byte of the result. Okay, similarly in 8086, when when multiplication and division operation is performed, to hold this additional result, dx is also used. Okay, there is data register. Okay, dx is also used. Next comes what is known as stack pointer. Okay, stack pointer is used to hold the offset address of a top of stack memory. Okay, this operation is similar to stack pointer of 805 microcontroller. We'll discuss all this also in detail. Next comes base pointer. See, base pointer and base registers are different. Base pointer used to hold the base value in base addressing using stack segment register to access the data from. See, dx is used to access the data from the data memory. Yes, bp is used to access the data from the stack memory. Okay, in whenever stack segment is used. Okay, so there are four, as we saw in the earlier slide, that there are four segments in the memory: core segment, data segment, stack segment, and extra segment. Whenever we are accessing the stack segment, to access the data stored in the stack segment, okay, there is a data, basically it is a data. We use BP, base pointer, whereas we to access the data from the data segment in the base addressing mode, we use bx register. Okay, that is base register. Okay, yes, next is source in index registers. Two index registers in 8051. Source index and data index. So source index is used to hold index value of source operand data for string instructions. Okay, so that is we are executing the operations on strings of data. In such case, to hold the index value of a source operand, yes, there is. What do you mean by index is? Let us say, for example, we write this, let us say a string. Okay, so let us say the string is, let us say micro processor, for example. Okay, so what is the index of this string is? For example, what is the index? For example, let us say index of m is 0. Is correct. Similarly, index of I is 1. Similar index of C is 2. Likewise, to hold this index, 8086 makes use of what is known as source index. Okay, we'll discuss a little in detail again. Data index used to hold the index value of destination operand for string operation. Okay, so this index register is basically used for string operation. One for the source stored in the source location, another for the data stored at the destination location. Okay, fine. So bus interface unit basically has three components: instruction pointers, segment registers, and what is known as instruction queue. Along with that, it has a adder. This is not shown in this diagram. It has adders. This adder is used to generate a 20-bit address. So the author is trying to explain only in terms of memory. Okay, he is not discussing the adder part. So instruction queue. Okay, so in this instruction queue implies basically parallel processing. Guess what is this instruction queue? From where we get this instruction queue? So if you see this diagram in the CPU architecture, there's an instruction queue. This can you see this? Six instructions. Six what you call instruction queues. 6 byte. To be more precise, 6 locations of instruction queue. So what is the role of this instruction queue? That is explained here. Okay, so let us jump to that instruction queue. 8086 employ parallel processing. Okay, so when you is busy decoding or executing current instruction, the buses of 8086 may not be in use. Okay, that is it is not used, it is idle. At the same time, BIU, that is bus interface unit, can use buses to fetch up to 6 instruction bytes for the following instruction. That is, it will execute, it will fetch next 6 instruction to be executed by the execution unit, and it will load into the instruction queue. Bus interface unit stores these prefetched bytes in FIFO mode, that is first in first out mode. Okay, register called as instruction queue. That is the first instruction loaded into this queue will be the first executed by the execution unit. When there is execution unit is ready for its next instruction, it is simply reads the instruction from the queue in BIU. That is, execution unit will not read from the memory. See, what happens is, next instruction to be executed by the execution unit, it will not send the address to fetch from the memory. No, the instructions are already loaded in the instruction queue. It is a first in first out. The first instruction fetch will be loaded in the first location after shifting operation, of course. The next instruction in the second location, next instruction in the third location. Likewise, six instruction are loaded in the instruction queue. So that can also be data also, instruction as well as data loaded in the instruction queue, that will be directly fetched by the execution unit. Yes, because of this parallel processing, operation speed of processor is faster. Though the frequency of operation is smaller, execution speed is faster. Okay, fine. Okay, so anyway, it's time to close. I'll continue in the next class with the instruction queue. We'll continue from here, instruction queue, and we'll discuss addressing mode in the next class possibly. Okay, so it's almost done for CPU architecture part. So next class we'll discuss segmentation registers, 20-bit address generation, and addressing modes. Okay, yes? Fine. Thanks for joining us. See you. See you in the next class.